June 28, 1914. Austrian Archduke Franz Ferdinand is assassinated by a pro-Serbian nationalist. The European time bomb explodes. Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia, and one declaration of war leads to another and another, until most of Europe plunges into the inferno. Both sides predict victory within a few months. President Wilson proclaims American neutrality and appeals to his countrymen to be neutral in thought as well as in action.
Thank God that we are not involved. Every man who truly loves America will act and speak in the true spirit of neutrality.
The American public approves. Europe is 3,000 miles away. George Washington's doctrine of isolation from Europe's affairs has succeeded for over 100 years. But then news arrives of German atrocities in Belgium. The German chancellor calls an international treaty guaranteeing Belgian neutrality a scrap of paper, and German armies invade, leveling cities and shooting unarmed civilians. Committees are formed for the relief of Belgian war victims, and former President Theodore Roosevelt denounces Wilson's policy of neutrality as a cowardly denial of American principles. But most Americans remain opposed to going to war.
They might have stayed that way if the Germans had not resorted to unrestricted submarine warfare, a tactic designed to break the supremacy of the British Navy. The Germans declare a war zone around the British Isles for all ships. The German embassy publishes a warning in New York newspapers that transatlantic travel is unsafe. A few days later, as the British liner Lusitania nears the Irish coast, it is torpedoed by a German submarine. More than 1,100 lives are lost. American public opinion turns decisively against Germany.
Now, President Wilson confronts a problem as old as the Republic: the rights of neutral Americans when Europe is at war. In 1916, he runs for re-election on the slogan, "He kept us out of war."
I know that you are depending on me to keep this nation out of war. So far, I have done so, and I pledge you my word that, God helping me, I will, if it is possible.
Germany has promised there will be no repetition of the Lusitania sinking.
During the next few months, Wilson attempts to play the role of peacemaker. He tries to convene a peace conference. When this fails, he asks both sides to state their proposals for peace. When this fails, he offers a program of his own.
February 1917. Germany resumes unrestricted submarine warfare. The Germans calculate they can win the war before the United States can intervene. Within 2 months, 6 American vessels are sent to the bottom by German submarines. At the same time, it is learned that Germany has proposed an anti-American alliance with Mexico. Peace is no longer possible. Wilson breaks relations with Germany and asks Congress for a declaration of war. It is the war to end all wars.
It is a fearful thing to lead this great, peaceful people into a war, into the most terrible and disastrous of all wars. Civilization itself seeming to be in the balance. We shall fight for the ultimate peace of the world. The world must be made safe for democracy.
For the first time in history, American troops embark for Europe, and Americans enter a European war. The American soldiers are greeted by joyous mobs who pray these fresh troops can end the years of stalemate. And so they do, but only after learning a terrible truth. Modern war. Mass slaughter on battlefields as desolate as the moon. Landmines and poisoned gas and long-range artillery. machine guns and tanks, and death dropping from the skies. Men and cities erased from the earth.
In Russia, the slaughter becomes unbearable. A revolution overthrows the Tsar's government. Soon thereafter, the Bolsheviks take power, led by Nikolai Lenin, who immediately removes Russia from the war, releasing 1 million German troops to fight on the Western Front.
But even as the Allies desperately resist the German assault, Wilson puts forward a 14-point proposal for a just and lasting settlement to be enforced by a world organization, a League of Nations. All the bloodshed will be for naught if such a war can ever happen again.
The Western Front holds. Strengthened by 500,000 fresh American troops, the Allies mount 5 crushing offensives. Germany is close to collapse. A revolution overthrows the Kaiser, and the new government signs an armistice.
All quiet on the Western Front. And in the cities of the world, wild joy. It is the end of horror, the beginning of peace, the dawning of a new age. December 1918, President Wilson arrives in France to attend the Paris Peace Conference. He's greeted as a conquering hero, a great world leader who will forever put an end to war. He goes in spite of angry criticism that the president should not be out of the country, taking along a delegation consisting mainly of close personal advisors. It does not include even one member of the Senate. Wilson's party has just lost the congressional elections, but Wilson gambles everything on bringing back a treaty so favorable, the Senate must accept it.